So imagine you've studied, I don't know, Spanish or Japanese for 5 years.
Okay, yeah.
You know the grammar perfectly. You can conjugate all those irregular verbs in your sleep, and your vocabulary flashcards are just completely memorized.
You're feeling confident.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So you step off a plane, you walk up to a local barista, you open your mouth, and you sound exactly like a 1990s textbook.
Oh, yeah. It's stiff.
It's so stiff and awkward. And within, like, 3 seconds, the barista just switches to English anyway.
It is the absolute worst feeling. I mean, that phenomenon right there is the ultimate hurdle in language acquisition.
It really is.
Yeah.
And today we are looking at the neurological trick to fix that exact problem.
We are. We're jumping into a really fascinating source today that tackles this head on.
Yeah, it's a script from day 6 of a language challenge called English Decoded Speak English in 30 Days.
Right. Originally hosted by instructors David and Emma. But you know, our mission for this deep dive isn't just to look at the specific sentences they teach.
No, we want to understand the underlying mechanics of how they teach it. And, I mean, what this curated list of phrases accidentally reveals about modern human existence.
Which is a lot, actually.
A surprising amount. So the method they introduce right at the top of the curriculum is something called shadowing.
Right. Shadowing.
And the instructions to the learner are pretty rigid. They say you have to listen to an audio sentence and repeat it immediately.
Yeah. Matching the rhythm, the intonation, and, the pronunciation as closely as physically possible.
But here's the thing that gets me. Skipping the translation phase entirely, it just feels entirely backward to me.
It does feel weird at first.
Right. Because if I'm desperate to learn a language, my brain is going to absolutely scream if I don't know the literal dictionary meaning of what I'm mimicking.
Of course.
I mean, doesn't this just create parrots instead of actual fluent speakers?
It seems highly counterintuitive, sure, but you really have to look at it through the lens of cognitive load.
Okay, cognitive load. Walk me through that.
So when you translate in your head, you are essentially running your brain's processing power through a virtual machine.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you hear a word in English, you run it through your native language filter to find the equivalent, you check the grammar rules to make sure the syntax matches.
Right. Checking the conjugation, the gender of the noun.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
only then do you try to command your mouth to actually speak.
So you're basically running a translation emulator in your head in real time.
Precisely. And the problem is, by the time you've done all that computing, the natural flow of the conversation has already moved on.
The barista has already handed you your coffee and is looking at the next customer.
Exactly. So shadowing removes that emulator entirely. It forces you out of the analytical centers of the brain.
The analytical centers, you mean like Wernicke's area, stuff like that?
Yeah, exactly. The parts that handle deep comprehension. It bypasses that and directly engages the motor pathways. Because language isn't just passive data, right? It's active motor control. You are physically teaching your vocal cords, your tongue, and your breath to handle the specific melody of a new language.
Okay, so you're forcing the brain to run the new language natively, even if it doesn't fully grasp the code yet.
That's a great way to put it.
It kind of makes me think of, well, training muscle memory in sports.
Oh, totally.
Like, a tennis coach will physically move your arm through the arc of a swing 100 times before they ever sit you down to explain, the physics of the racket's momentum.
Right. You have to feel the movement before you can analyze it.
Because you're thinking about the physics while the ball is coming at you.
You're going to miss the ball. That is a perfect parallel. And David and Emma actually note in their script that repetition is what makes these sentences stick in the memory.
The physical repetition.
Yeah. The melody is what makes you sound like a native speaker. The semantic understanding, the dictionary definition of every single word that backfills later once that physical pathway is established. Oh, that makes so much sense.
Because if you try to build the vocabulary before the rhythm, you will always sound like a textbook.
Wow. Okay, so once that physical rhythmic pathway is open, the actual words you feed into it start to matter immensely.
They really do.
And what surprised me so much about this source material wasn't the grammatical structure of the sentences they chose.
What was it?
It was the worldview they project. I mean, the script features about 100 sentences divided into practical categories, right?
Yeah, exactly 100.
And if you look at the very first things they prioritize, the categories are literally daily habits and health and well-being.
Right.
It is a far cry from the old language phrasebooks I used to see.
Oh, completely. Because, language curriculums have historically mirrored the practical anxieties of their specific eras.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like 50 years ago, a phrase book prioritized ordering a beef stew or asking a stranger for directions to the train station.
Right. Where is the library, please?
Exactly. It was designed for a tourist trying to survive a brief physical transaction. But the architecture of the modern routine is totally different now.
So different.
I mean, the modern learner isn't just a tourist. They are navigating this globalized state of mild exhaustion and constant self-optimization.
That's so true.
And you see it immediately in the phrases David and Emma chose for this challenge.
What are some of the ones that stood out to you?
Well, learners are shadowing sentences like, I've been trying to wake up earlier lately, or getting enough sleep really affects my mood.
Right.
And even things like, it's important to take breaks when you're studying. I mean, the curriculum is essentially prioritizing the vocabulary of burnout and recovery.
It really is. And the grammatical choice of a sentence like, I've been trying to wake up earlier, is particularly telling to me.
How so?
Well, it's not a static resolved statement like, I wake up at 6.
Oh, right.
It communicates this ongoing, unresolved struggle. And that is how modern people actually connect with each other.
Through our shared struggles.
Yeah. We bond over our shared attempts to navigate a high-pressure environment.
We're all just trying to wake up earlier.
Exactly. So if a language program wants to make a learner functional in a contemporary society, equipping them to discuss their mental bandwidth is just as critical as teaching them numbers or colors.
Wow. Yeah. Which makes the transition into the next section of their script, the Office and Technology section, feel almost inevitable.
Right, because the exhaustion has a very specific source.
Exactly. But sitting with this section, I just couldn't help but notice a glaring irony here.
The screen time thing.
Yes. The learner is sitting there, likely using a smartphone or a laptop, to access this 30-day digital challenge.
Of course.
And they're practicing saying things like, I'm trying to spend less time on my phone, or my computer keeps freezing, it's so frustrating.
It's very meta.
It is. We are literally using screens to learn how to articulate our fatigue with screens.
It is a closed loop, absolutely. But I'd argue it's an incredibly necessary one.
Why do you say that?
Well, think about what a frozen computer or a dead phone battery actually represents today. Yes, but functionally, it's not just a mechanical failure anymore. It's an immediate severing of your social and professional lifelines.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, if your phone dies, you lose your map, your wallet, your friends.
Everything.
Yeah, your ability to even call for help.
Exactly. So teaching a learner to say, can you CC me on that email? Or this software update found a lot of bugs. Or even, I backed up all my photos to the cloud.
Right, those are in there.
Yeah, it is essentially teaching them the language of modern survival.
The new phrase book.
Exactly. The shift from, where's the library, to, my phone battery drains so fast it just reflects a massive shift in where our lives are actually lived.
The digital environment?
Yeah, the digital environment is as tangible and requires as much navigation as the physical one.
But eventually, though, a learner does have to put the phone down and step out their front door.
They do.
And that's where the linguistic demands of this script shift again. We move from our personal digital bubbles to a much larger societal navigation.
The macro environment.
Right. The sections on city life and money and budgeting really tackle that.
And this is where the curriculum captures the intense duality of the physical world so perfectly.
It really does.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, the instructors have the learner practice the charm of an urban space.
The nice stuff.
Yeah, you shadow sentences like, I love how many restaurants there are, and I walk around the old part of town.
It's the postcard version of reality.
Exactly, the postcard. But that is immediately followed by the grit.
Right.
Sentences like, traffic gets really bad around rush hour, or the bus was so crowded.
Oh, and the classic.
The universally dreaded rent has gotten really expensive in this area.
That sequence just perfectly mirrors the psychological whiplash of city living.
Whiplash is the right word for it.
Yeah, the initial allure of the city is immediately followed by the logistical friction of actually being there.
But okay, let me push back on this a bit.
Sure.
Why force someone to repeat phrases about expensive rent or a crowded bus?
You mean instead of more elevated topics?
Yeah. If I am investing hundreds of hours into learning a new language, I want to experience a new culture deeply.
Right.
I want to debate philosophy or read beautiful literature or discuss art. Making a learner sit there and repeat mundane complaints about inflation.
Like the phrase about prices going up?
Yeah, like prices have gone up a lot recently, or this month has been more expensive than usual. It just feels like a fast track to boring them to tears.
I get that.
Is there a risk of just demoralizing the learner with how painfully mundane this all is?
See, I would argue the complete opposite.
Really?
Yeah, those mundane complaints are actually the most sophisticated social tools a learner can acquire.
How so?
We have a really skewed idea of what fluency means. Fluency isn't about quoting poetry at a dinner party.
Okay.
It's about establishing a shared socioeconomic reality. When we complain about traffic or inflation, we are engaging in a process of economic empathy.
Economic empathy. Wow.
Yes.
So shared misery is essentially a biological bonding exercise.
Neurologically and sociologically, yes, it really is.
That is fascinating.
Think about it. Complaining about a universal low-stakes frustration like a crowded bus, it acts as a great equalizer.
Right, because everyone hates a crowded bus.
Exactly. It signals to the other person that you are both subject to the exact same systemic pressures.
You're in the same boat.
Right. It lowers defenses and builds immediate trust. You don't need poetry to bond with a stranger at a bus stop.
No, you'd probably scare them away.
Right. You need to be able to sigh and say, this month has been more expensive than usual, with the right cultural intonation.
Because if you can commiserate with the right cadence, you belong.
Exactly. You are proving that you aren't just a tourist passing through. You are part of the local ecosystem facing the same daily friction.
Wow, that completely reframes the boredom for me.
It's functional.
Yeah, the mundanity is the bridge. The whole utility of language is to close the gap between two people.
Yes.
And debating philosophy might close the gap with, like, a select few people in a university seminar somewhere. But knowing how to split a bill evenly or complaining about downtown parking closes the gap with almost everyone else in the entire city.
Which naturally sets up the ultimate goal of learning any language.
Right.
Once you've established that shared reality, you've survived the broken computer, you've navigated the expensive rent, you've commiserated over the traffic.
You've done all the groundwork.
Right, you finally have the foundation to pursue actual human connection.
Yes,
Yeah.
And that's where the latter half of this source material moves entirely out of survival mode.
It moves into personal joy and relationships.
And the emotional weight of the sentences shifts so dramatically here.
It really does.
In the hobbies and free time section, the phrases become highly individualized.
Give me some examples.
So things like, I like baking on Sunday mornings,
Mm-hmm.
or photography has become one of my favorite hobbies.
Oh, nice.
And I finally finished the book I've been reading for weeks. It just feels like the curriculum is suddenly giving the learner permission to have an identity outside of just being a worker or a commuter.
And that individualized identity is the absolute prerequisite for the interpersonal dynamics in the next section.
The relationships section.
Yes, which requires heavy emotional lifting.
It really does.
Yeah.
The phrases they chose for relationships are surprisingly deep for just a quip 30-day challenge.
But it didn't hold back.
No. The learner is shadowing concepts like, trust takes a long time to build, and she's someone I can always count on.
Those are complex ideas.
Right. They even tackle conflict resolution with, we had a small disagreement, but we worked it out.
That's huge.
To articulate those abstract, vulnerable concepts in a second language, it requires an immense amount of courage.
It does, but vulnerability also requires precision.
Precision, what do you mean?
Well, if you cannot express nuance during a disagreement, the relationship fractures.
Oh, right. Because a misunderstood word can cause a fight.
Exactly. So providing learners with the exact structural formula to say, we worked it out, gives them the confidence to engage in complex emotional labor.
Without the fear that a grammatical error is going to ruin a friendship.
Yes. They have the script ready to deploy when their brain is too stressed out to actively translate.
But, okay, right after these foundational, emotionally heavy sentences, the script throws a major curveball.
Oh, the small talk.
Yes, the very last category they cover before the end is small talk.
The phrases we all supposedly despise.
Literally. Like, long time no see, how have you been? Or, nice weather we're having today, isn't it?
Time really flies, doesn't it?
Exactly. Why treat these superficial cliches as a vital category and place them right next to statements about deep, interpersonal trust.
Because small talk is the gateway.
The gateway.
It is the necessary protocol for those deeper relationships. Sociologists actually refer to this as the social contract.
Okay, unpack that for me.
Well, people often claim they want deep, meaningful conversations immediately, right?
Sure, we all hate small talk.
But jumping straight into heavy emotional topics with a mere acquaintance is actually jarring and invasive.
Right, it's like trying to run heavy software before checking if the operating system can even handle it.
That's a fantastic way to look at it. Small talk is basically the process of pinging the server.
Oh, I love that. Pinging the server.
Yeah. When you ask, "Nice weather we're having today, isn't it?" You aren't looking for meteorological data.
Obviously not.
You are sending a low-stakes packet of information to test the connection.
Wow.
You are signaling, "I understand the rhythm of this culture, I am safe to interact with, and I am extending an invitation to engage."
So, you cannot get to the vulnerable sentence. Trust takes a long time to build unless you first successfully pass the test of the superficial sentence.
So what have you been up to lately?
Exactly.
And mastering the rhythm of small talk through shadowing makes that invitation feel natural instead of forced.
Which is the whole point.
Right. And as we zoom out and look at the entire arc of this source material, there is a distinct narrative progression at play here.
There really is.
It begins with the daily grind and survival, waking up early, fixing bugs, paying rent.
Then it moves through the friction of the city and the complexities of human relationships.
And it lands on a remarkably optimistic note.
It does. The final section is literally called Future Goals.
It culminates in aspiration. The learner practices projecting their identity forward.
Like, my goal is to start my own business someday, or I hope to travel more once I finish my studies.
Which is beautiful.
And the crowning sentence of the entire script, which I found just incredibly moving, is, I believe things will get better with time and effort.
Yeah, that's a powerful one.
Teaching someone to express optimism in a new language feels profound. You aren't just giving them a translation of their thoughts. You are giving them a linguistic framework to participate in hope.
You're providing them a mechanism to look past the immediate mundane frustrations of their environment.
The expensive rent, the frozen computers.
Exactly. And project themselves into a better future within that new culture.
Well, to wrap this all up for you, the listener, the source material we analyzed today proves that true language acquisition goes far beyond memorizing vocabulary lists or grammar rules.
Far beyond it.
By utilizing the shadowing technique, by physically training the brain and the vocal cords to mimic the natural rhythm of everyday speech learners, bypass that clumsy translation emulator.
They adopt the melody of the culture.
They really do. And the lyrics to that melody are deeply revealing. I mean, they range from the exhaustion of screen fatigue and the economic realities of city living, all the way to the subtle social contracts of small talk and the vulnerability of building trust.
They are rehearsing for real life, not just reading the sheet music.
Beautifully said.
The curriculum recognizes that fluency is the ability to navigate both the daily frictions and the profound hopes of a society.
Absolutely.
Which actually leaves me with a final thought for you to mull over today.
Oh, let's hear it.
We've seen how 100 curated sentences can capture the entire essence of modern daily life, our technological frustrations, and our interpersonal connections.
Yeah.
So if an observer were to follow you around and record the 100 sentences that you speak most often every single day, what story would that script tell? Oh, wow. That is a highly revealing thought experiment.
Right. What are the recurring rhythms and themes of your own personal script? Are your most frequent sentences focused on stress and drained batteries, or are they rooted in future goals and community connection?
That's a great question.
It's something to consider the next time you find yourself on autopilot, singing along to the melody of your own daily routine.